ain't gone, that's somehow forgotten, that you are faced with circumstances that you cannot get through. Right now it seems that there is no way out and you're going under. God's proven time and time again that He'll fix it for you. He'll do it again, friend. He'll do it again. Just take a look at where you are now and where you've been. Has He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. God knows the things that you've been going through and how you are hurting. He understands just how your heart has been broken into. Can I get a witness? He's a God of the sun, the stars, the seas. He is our Father. He'll calm your storm and He'll find a way and He'll fix it for you. Won't He do it? He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Just take a look at where you are.
I was going to lip sync, but I thought maybe. Today's readings, as they always do, they challenge us. And today's first reading, like them all, it does provide for us some questions and some challenges. So let's try to get our head around those challenges and questions. I'm not sure I have the answers, but let's see where we go. We in the West, we in the 21st century, when we hear that first reading from the book of Genesis, God calling Abraham to sacrifice his son, we cringe. So barbaric, so unchristian. Not the right thing, not the thing to do. How does God call someone to go kill his or her child? Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, because that was a normal thing in that context and culture, child sacrifice. That's the way they saw, they felt that was one way they can respond to God, to the gods even. Not so with us. We are not in that place, but we do other things that would cause us to cringe as far as it comes to children. Perhaps worse than this story. The window on my left, your right, next to the altar is but an example of such. Young Aubrey, at 19, was sent to die on a battlefield. Why then should we cringe at Abraham's story? Many a young boy, young girl are sold into prostitution, into this society, here and elsewhere, and we cringe at Abraham's story. Many a child is abused by family, friends, and neighbors, and we cringe at Abraham's story. That's not our way in our time, but that was the way it was. We have to understand what it meant for Abraham. That's the first thing I want to leave with us. The second thing I want to put to us is that Abraham lied. Abraham seems to have told his servants a lie. when he was told to sacrifice his son by the God that he met a little while back in his home country, he set out and told his friends, we will go up and worship and we will come back to you. That's what it said. He didn't say, I will come back. He said, we will come back. Did he know what we don't know in the story? But let's see if how it goes. As I was thinking about this, was Abraham testing God? Because God, you told me you've got something for me that's really good. We made a covenant, you made it with me, and I agreed to what was in the contract. So I trusted you. Now, do you really mean this, God? Let me see how far you're going to go. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get the donkey. I'm going to go and see how far you go, God. So here is that question. Who was testing whom? I don't know. You this week have to look it out and email me and let me know what you think. But the story goes on that God provided at the end of it all this ram for sacrifice. We here in our teaching and our call as people of faith to give ourselves, to make of ourselves a sacrifice to God, as Abraham and others did, of course. And we, as a Christian call it, we say, well, sure, that's possible. I can offer God my heart, love or my heart and my soul and my mind and my strength, so on. My heart and soul and mind and strength, I can give those to God. So what? We need to understand two things when we speak about giving ourselves to God in sacrifice when called upon by God to do so. Yes, we understand that we give our whole beings to God. We frame our life in that context, that all we do, say, think, are, it's all fashioned in terms of how we understand God and God's place in our life, God's presence and power and place in our life. That's how it's all, it seems to fit so nicely in our sophisticated setting. Heart and mind and soul and strength. Give to God. I believe there's more to it than that, as I'm sure we all know. Yes, we give ourselves to God and allow God to inform our lives. But you know what? God asks of us everything. Your money, your house, your children, everything. Now that does not ring quite favorable in our Western ears. What does he mean by that? Everything. When we are called to give to God everything we have, I believe we are being called to give to the service of God, to the children of God, to the people of God, to all that God has made. Give ourselves, give back to that situation. So that the gospel makes sense for us then. Where we read that we are called to give even a cup of cold water to the meek crowd, little ones. Maybe the stranger, the weak one, the ones we don't really take much care for. That we are called to give even a cup of water to them. We can speak about loving God with all our heart and soul and mind and strength, but if we are unable to give up that little water we have for ourselves, that little flask, to give to others, then something is missing in the picture. That's the real demand that's put upon us as was put upon Abraham. To give up that which we hold so dear and precious and make it and put it at God's disposal in service in some way that someone may benefit. Well, okay, that seems good, but what do we have to give? Well, surely Caesar, in the little gospel I played earlier, speaks to that. And you being here also speak to that. That all through our life, at some point or other, we have been called to make some sacrifice. And even then, we want, Lord, how am I going to make this work? How will this be possible? What will happen? Can I get through this really? I'm not sure, God. But somehow or other, you are here. And that tells me that you got through. You got through in some way. Abraham, we came back down the mountain. He got through in some way because in his slow motion behavior, in his questioning mind, he was not sure how he would have made it through. But he came back down the mountain. He got through. And thereafter, time and time again, God did it again. He'll do it again. So we need not throw our hands in the air and resign ourselves to thinking that it's beyond me. That I can only do so much. And we use that all the time. This is all I can do. Can't do any more. Who says so? Who said you can't do any more? And we find excuses. Why don't we test God to see if God is really faithful as he was in the past? That's the challenge all of us need to ask ourselves. Don't think that God is testing us, but we are being called to test God. And if the God you are testing is the God of Abraham, then you are okay. Because God provided for Abraham when he was not sure what will happen. When Moses was called by God to go to Pharaoh, he wasn't sure how he would have gotten through. He could hardly speak. He was a murderer on the run. How can I go back to Egypt, go back to Pharaoh, stand before him, and tell him anything at all? But the God who was with him in the river, the God who was with him in Pharaoh's court, the God who was with him as he wandered through the desert, the God who was with him at the burning bush, was the God who gave him a rod. Say, go back and do your thing. The God who called his son Jesus Christ to be for us our Savior was with that same Jesus as he was tempted in the wilderness and took his life. Lord, how can I do this? Father, how can I do this? And in the wilderness, we're told he sent him his angels. And they served him in his moment of doubt and fear. And when God makes demands upon us, when we feel we have nothing to offer, remember, my friends, that God sent the same Jesus Christ in the first instance to walk with us as he walked while he lived on this earth. And that same Jesus Christ is present to walk with us into the future. So why ought you to say, ought I to say, I don't know how we're going to get through? You're going to get through. We just got to trust in the God who has been faithful to us. There's that very familiar hymn, great is thy faithfulness, morning by morning, new mercies, new mercies. That's the God Abraham knew, the God who he didn't know before, but he got to know. That's the God you know, God I know, the God we all know. I trust, my friends, that we will, like Abraham, walk slowly, pray hard, ask questions, but trust. For in the end, like the psalmist, we can sing or say, they who trust in the Lord shall be like Mount Zion that shall not be moved. You may not be able to sing like Shirley Caesar, but you can probably sing with her.
God knows the things that you've been going through and how you are hurting. He understands just how your heart has been broken into. Can I get a witness?